Good morning. Welcome to Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace. Welcome to the soul of Sunday. We are Unitarian Universalists. Ours is a historic faith with a progressive theology. We affirm the worth and dignity of every being, and that we are all deeply interconnected. We are bound to one another not by creed, but by covenant. And we are called to answer the call of love with open minds, open hearts, and open hands. Whoever you are, those of all nations, all creeds, all colors, all kinds of love, you are welcome here. The vast majority of us need no introduction to Reverend Erica Rose Long. Erica served here as a member of our program staff while she was attending Harvard Divinity School. She was ordained here in 2018, and along with her work as a chaplain at Massachusetts General Hospital, Erica serves as one of our affiliated community ministers and is one of our beloved preachers. I am so grateful to her for volunteering for a very special role in this morning's service. Thank you, Erica.
Good morning. Good morning. It's good to see you all. So today we have something special. We are honoring a very wise member of our community who so many of us love very dearly. And to give some preface for what is happening exactly, you may have heard of coming of age. We often have visitors visiting our congregation from other states, other cities, and their coming of age groups. Coming of age is a rite of passage for Unitarian Universalist youth to explore, deepen, and share what they believe is sacred and true. The coming of age experience concludes with a worship service where the youth share their credos, which are statements of what they believe. This past year, a member of our congregation, Alden McNulty, participated in the Coming of Age program at Theodore Parker Church in West Roxbury. In the years that I've known Alden, since she was in elementary school and she came to Arlington Street Church, I have admired her boundless curiosity, her compassionate thoughtfulness, and her creativity. Alden, we are so proud of you, and we would be honored if you would share your credo statement with us this morning.
Albert Einstein once said, "There are two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle." Now, I could spend hours talking about the meaning of this quote, but what I'm going to talk about specifically is my interpretation of this quote and how I have taken it to heart and have come to believe that everything is a miracle. First, I want you to look around you at anything. What I want to say is that is a miracle. It's a miracle that it's the way it is, that it's the way it is. Out of many possibilities, it's that specific color and that specific texture. Maybe you like that color. You can now appreciate the miracle that it is the color it is, and that you even like that color. An example in my life of the miracle of something being the way it is out of many possibilities is my passion. This passion is my passion for science, specifically astrophysics, which concerns space and how it works. It's a miracle that out of all the sciences, all the subjects, all the jobs I could have wanted to do, I decided that I wanted to do astrophysics. It's a miracle that my mom found a documentary named Cosmos, which teaches about astrophysics, thought I would like it, showed it to me, and I decided to watch it. It's a miracle that started something much bigger. It sparked a curiosity in me that could not be put out. I followed that curiosity wherever it took me. From learning about black holes to the anatomy of an atom you would find in a table. I was eager to learn about everything. I learned everything I could about astrophysics, and I still am learning. Because of that, here I am now. I know how black holes work, what supernovas are, about the different types of stars, and what it means if a galaxy is blue shifted, which is a miracle. Another miracle is that the atoms in the table I previously mentioned, or anything, are arranged the way they are. That those atoms are even there. I mean, just think about it. There are millions of atoms in everything you touch, and they're all arranged in certain ways to make, for example, an element. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that a miracle? Now, I want to go on to the miracle of life, specifically how we humans became alive and became so advanced. How atoms form molecules and molecules come together to form compounds is a miracle. It's a miracle that compounds became beings which can reproduce themselves, and they became advanced enough to be conscious and aware of themselves. It's a miracle that they became not only conscious, but curious enough to look up and wonder what those spots of light are in the sky at night, or to be curious about anything. It's a miracle that all that came from just a couple atoms. It's also a miracle that we care about the nature of reality and are curious about it. This brings me to another miracle. This is a miracle in my life, and it's that I've had the privilege to be able to explore what I believe without any limitations. I am very grateful for this community and my parents, and that they've provided me with the resources to do that. I'm still not quite sure what maybe the nature of reality is, or what I believe happens after we die. But I've been able to find things I value and certain things I believe in. These were some examples of why I believe that everything is a miracle. I hope that you can take something away from this and become more grateful for things in your life. Thank you for listening to me talk about this today.
Alden, you are a miracle. And Erica has a gift for you from all of us. A flaming chalice necklace. We're very busy tying on the necklace and getting it just right. Okay. As we gather, we acknowledge that Arlington Street Church occupies the ancestral homeland of the Massachusetts. By making this land acknowledgement, we recognize, honor, and affirm the sovereignty of all First Nations peoples. Dear ones, welcome to our Zoomers and welcome to our incarnate congregation. And I want to say a very special welcome to Barb's parents. Are they here? Is it true? Anne and Fred, welcome from Florida. There they are. Great to see you. Welcome home. Lovely to see you. I want to say a welcome to Teresa, who's here in celebration of Alden's coming of age. Welcome and thank you for being here. And Jess, are you here? There she is. Jess Acosta, our new congregational administrator, is here this morning for worship. Welcome, Jess. So happy to see you here. Welcome. Many thanks to our volunteers here in the sanctuary today. Tech team lead, Art Nava, is on sound. Jen Eno is behind the camera. Kem Moorhead is in the Zoom deck. Kem's in the Zoom chat, and Sandy's on the Zoom deck. Sandy Dixon on the Zoom deck. You guys are awesome. Thank you so, so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you to our Great Doors team, ensuring that we can gather safely in person. That's Queen Cheryl, Barb Gindhart, and Rachel Corey, our greeters. And Jeffrey, are you our lead usher today? Awesome. Jeffrey Hill's our lead usher. Beautiful. Welcome home, Jeffrey. Great to see you. Thanks to our musicians, Director of Music Mark David Buckles, artist in residence Roger Clinton Vine on organ, Chang on piano. Welcome home, Chang. Great to see you, sweetie. Julie Metcalf on violin, Daniel Rosenzweig tenor. Beck is here, Hannah's here. Welcome to our section leaders and to the Arlington Street Church Choir. And our beloved executive minister, Beth Robbins, has come out from behind the screen today and joins me in the high pulpit. Some of our singers rapid tested this morning so they can sing unmasked. We've closed those first 4 pews up front to keep everyone safe. A reminder that those in the sanctuary should be physically distancing from those who are not in your family or pod. When your pew is full, please close your pew doors so people who arrive after you know that it's full, even if you're the only one sitting there. And finally, for those of you who are new to Arlington Street, a very special welcome to you. For those of you in the sanctuary, there are welcome cards in the pew racks. Please hand yours to an usher or Queen Cheryl, or drop it in the basket at the Great Doors as you leave. For those of you in the Zoom room, please fill out a connection card. The link is in the chat. It includes the option to request a link to a recording of today's sermon. Since I can't greet all of you in person after the service, I would love to follow up with a virtual hello. Friends, whether you have been coming here for years or today is your first time at Arlington Street, welcome home.
Good morning, my friends. If you haven't already downloaded today's order of service, it's available in the chat and on the homepage at ascboston.org. For our guests here in the sanctuary, there are printed copies at the Great Doors. Also on the homepage, you'll find a link to Sermon Bingo. Feel free to play along while Reverend Kim preaches. As we begin our greetings, I invite the Zoomers and those here in the sanctuary with a device handy to please say hello in the chat and tell us where you're Zooming in from today. And now, Jen is going to turn the camera on the incarnate congregation as we wave and smize at each other, and as well as at our friends in the Zoom room. And you all in the Zoom room can wave and smile back. Hello, friends. Let's engage that Arlington Street spirit of welcome that transcends physical distance as we greet one another heart to heart.
Friends, it is always a leap of faith to claim this beloved spiritual community as our own, and there is something very special about the new members who have decided to join Arlington Street during the global pandemic. Some of us have never met in person. Our relationships have grown and deepened in gatherings in the Arlington Street Zoom room. New members, all of you, thank you for leaping. We welcome you with great joy. A very special thanks to our membership team, which has so warmly welcomed these spiritual warriors: Rachel Corey Lead, Dan Brotman, Gaby Whitehouse, Martha and Spencer Bonney, Sarah Netsky, and Tom Anderson. Thank you, friends. Each of our new members has joyfully cast their lot with us, affirming our great covenant of love and service, and pledging their financial support in return for the opportunity to grow their souls in this beloved community of memory and hope.
Our new members are Alan Kemp, Ann Grossi, Duncan Hughes.
Duncan Hines?
You know where my mind is.
I know where your mind is.
Marie O'Brien, and Roddy Emily. Many years ago, Roger and John Peltier were married here at Arlington Street. Roger went on to be ordained to our ministry and served congregations around the country. He is now retired, and today he and John are reinstating their membership as they return to Arlington Street. Welcome home, beloveds. Tech team lead Art Nava has made a beautiful video of our new folks introducing themselves, which you can view by going to ascboston.org. Thank you, Art. Would our new members who are incarnate please stand for a moment? Welcome, beloveds. To honor membership in this beloved spiritual community, let's join now in reading responsively George Odell's great affirmation, "We need one another." The words are printed in the order of service and pasted in the chat. Will all of you in the Zoom room please read with Reverend Kim, and will everyone in the sanctuary please join me in the response?
We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted.
We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid.
We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again.
When we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone.
We need one another in the hour of success, when we look for someone to share our triumph.
We need one another in the hour of defeat, when with encouragement we might endure and stand again.
We need one another when we come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey.
All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us.
Friends, we welcome you with all our hearts in thanksgiving and with great joy. We offer you our open minds, open hearts, and open hands. We are so glad that your spiritual journey has brought you home to us. Welcome home.
Good morning, friends. Our opening hymn is number 112, Do You Hear? The words are printed in your order of service, as well as in the hymnal if you'd like to look there. I invite you to rise in body, rise in spirit, and let's sing this song together. Julie Metcalf's going to kick it off with a little bit of fiddle. 1, 2, 1, 2. Do you hear, oh my friend, in the place where you stand, through the sky, through the land? Do you hear, in the high the throng, through the crush, do you hear in the hush of your soul, hear the cry, fear won't still, hear the heart's call to will, hear a sigh, startling trill, in your soul, From the place where you stand to the outermost strand, do you hear, oh my friend, do you hear all the dreams, all the dares, all the sighs, all the prayers, they are yours, mine and theirs. Do you hear all the dreams, all the dares, all the sighs, all the prayers, they are yours, mine and theirs. Do you hear, do you hear? Amen.
It is now time for our treasured ritual of sharing community candles of sorrow and joy. These candles were submitted on our website by the Friday evening deadline. If you didn't submit your candle and have a joy or a sorrow to share this morning, please wait until the third candle is lit, the silent candle, and then type your joy or sorrow into the chat. Zoomers are invited to light silent candles at home. Those in the sanctuary are invited to light a silent candle at the table up front to the right of the Gleason podium. In addition to sharing our sorrows and joys this morning, let's reach out to one another in the week ahead, staying connected. May these times remind us of how very precious this beloved community is. We need one another. Whether together or apart, may we stay very close. And now, in the spirit of invocation, let's join in singing Sanctuary. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat.
Some of us come today with heavy hearts. We open our hearts to you.
From Eleanor Nettleton, a mixed candle of care and concern for my daughter's housemate who tested positive for COVID on Wednesday. We are hopeful that our travel plans can go forward and that we will not carry COVID to our next destinations. A candle of ongoing concern from the Arlington Street congregation for the people of Ukraine and for the courageous Russians who are standing up to their government. Our final candle of sorrow is from Connie Scanlon. Our good friend, Arlington Street's Jimmy Boo Kahlo, is in the hospital with pneumonia. He's getting good care and has been visited by our own Reverend Erica Rose Long. Thank you, Erica, for caring for Jimmy so beautifully. Get well fast, Jimmy. We love you.
Some of us come in joy today. We share your joy.
A candle of joy for the 87th anniversary of the founding of Alcoholics Anonymous. On June 10th, 1935, Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob Smith founded AA, the 12-step program that has helped countless people recover from the disease of alcoholism and other addictions. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. The program is free. Today, there are over 60,000 AA meetings in the United States with a membership of almost 2 million people. Happy anniversary to this life-saving program. A candle of joy from the Arlington Street congregation. Queen Cheryl was here at the church late last night, back in the kitchen full force for the first time since the top of the pandemic, cooking up a storm for the reception following Allie's ordination. Thank you, Queen Cheryl, and to all of you who have stepped forward to make this celebration wonderful. And our greatest joy, of course, is this long-awaited ordination. Congratulations to almost Reverend Allie. We are so excited to ordain you and so proud of you. And our final candle of joy this morning will be read by our own Queen Cheryl.
This is another one from the congregation. We would like to express a candle of infinite gratitude to Reverend Kim and Reverend Beth for leading the way in helping us navigate this very strange, brave, new post-pandemic world. I don't know how in God's name you did it. That wasn't written. We wish you a blessed, peaceful, and relaxing summer. You've certainly earned it tenfold. Go surrounded by our love, and we will see you in September.
the sorrows and all the joys we hold in our hearts, we light a silent candle to remember and to rejoice. May the peace of this sanctuary enter into our hearts as we share a quiet moment together, breathing our prayers for ourselves, for one another, for our country, and for the world. Amen.
Let's join now in saying together the affirmation and covenant of this beloved spiritual community. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another.
El amor es el espíritu de nuestra congregación y el servicio es nuestro regalo. Esto es a lo que nos comprometemos, convivir en paz, hablar nuestras verdades con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
Our next hymn is Simple Gifts, or 'Tis a Gift to Be Simple. I was thinking about this. It's almost a meditation, and I was going to say just remain seated, but also one of the lines in the song is to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed, and it's all about these sort of spiritual rituals of using your body in the way that feels good for you. And I just, as a general invitation, I want to invite you to kind of like move around or not move around in the way that feels good for you in a worshipful way. But so there it is. You can stand or sit as feels good for you, and let's sing this lovely, lovely shaker prayer together. Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning, we come round right. 'Tis a gift, 'tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning, we come round right.
Thank you. You know, I just realized there are 3 generations of Bogages sitting in the front pew here. And I just really want to acknowledge Harriet and her clan. Andrew, is that you? Welcome. That's Dave's son. Terry, who do you have with you? Your boy. So sweet. Harriet, your grandsons are gorgeous. It's lovely to have you here this morning. Makes me really happy. Miles Davis said, "I always listen for what I can leave out." This from one of North America's greatest jazz trumpeters. Not how can I embellish this? How can I make it more complex, more layered? But what can I leave out? Listen to the spare, muted playing on All Blues or Stella by Starlight, and you can hear the beauty that can be coaxed out of the silence if you leave out just enough. Meditation teacher Dean Slider writes, "There's no straight line that can't be made crooked, no easy task that can't be made hard, no clear statement that can't be obscured, no ordinary encounter that can't be twisted into endless ramifications." Even Viktor Serebryakov, former president of the Genius Society Mensa, once said, "Unfortunately, intelligence is no guarantee against stupidity." Across 2 centuries, American naturalist Henry David Thoreau's directive echoes from the shores of Walden. Simplify, simplify. He explained, "I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. I did not wish to live what was not life. Living is so dear. Nor did I wish to practice resignation unless it was quite necessary. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put to rout all that was not life, to cut a broad swath and shave close, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms. And if it proved to be mean, why then to get the whole and genuine meanness of it and publish its meanness to the world. Or if it were sublime, to know it by experience and be able to give a true account of it in my next excursion." Clutter is the surest sign that simplicity has given way to complexity. It begins in our minds and the ripples emanate into our lives. What's complicating? What's cluttering your life? Clutter is not just stuff. American poet Mary Oliver penned The Journey, reminding us that certain relationships are clutter. The journey. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles, "Mend my life." Each voice cried, mend my life. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough and a wild night and the world full, the road full of fallen branches and stones, but little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds. And there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. Certain relationships, information overload, obligations, commitments, habits, they are clutter. And clutter is exhausting, taking up our time while adding precious little value to our lives. Too much is too much. It will steal our energy and rob us of the peace that abides in a clean, clear space. What is enough? Here's a wonderful lesson I stumbled across at the age of 20. I was living in Japan. One summer day, I was walking through the pathless wood behind the Zen temple, heading for the stream I could hear tumbling in the ravine below. And suddenly, at my feet, there appeared a circular stone about 2 feet in diameter with a square cut out of the center like an ancient Chinese coin. 4 ideograms, raised relief carvings, stood sentinel around the openings, one to a side. Years later, it occurred to me that one of the monks had surely come before me that day, and probably every day, sweeping the giant coin's surface clear of the forest debris, save some small patches of brown lichen and a thin veneer of nature's dust. But at the time, I felt that I had discovered it, and I was sure it contained a secret, a lesson, just for me. Painstakingly, I copied the characters into my notebook. Visiting my stepmother at her home back in Tokyo one evening after the dinner dishes had been cleared, I showed her my treasure. These characters are very, very old, she told me. We don't even use them anymore. She went to her room, emerged with what I imagine was the equivalent of our Webster's Unabridged Dictionary, and sat for a long time poring over my notebook, drawing new characters next to mine, speaking syllables under her breath in a kind of incantation. I waited. At last, she said, "I have it." She paused. "I don't know. Do you say this in English?" The stone said, "It is just enough." I was electrified. It is just enough. No, we don't say that in English, but we should. All those years ago now, I felt, as I still feel, that somehow we must learn to say it. It is just enough. Simplify. Simplify. Joshua Becker is the author of The More of Less. His list of the most important things to simplify in our lives includes our possessions, our time commitments, our goals, our negative thoughts, debt, words, artificial ingredients, screen time, fruitless connection to the events of the world, and the illusion of multitasking. He urges us to release ourselves from constraints that are not in line with our highest values. Choose 1 or 2 goals at a time at most. Clean up our minds by releasing bitterness, resentment, jealousy, and hatred. Getting out from under the weight of all kinds of indebtedness. And regularly, unplugging from our technology. Replace all these, he says, with balance, freedom, and joy. How to begin? As always, with intention. Melissa, writing for Simple Lionheart Life, simply Melissa, she's eliminated her last name. SimpleLionheartLife.com suggests we start with how we're committing and using our time, especially if we never feel we have enough time. And go from there. What are our priorities? What do we want more of, less of? Even a small shift, a tiny adjustment can tip the scale toward what's truly important. More of what we love and less of what we don't. We North Americans have a love affair with choices at our peril. Choices are seductive. How much time do we spend choosing between this and that? American filmmaker Quentin Tarantino said of American actor Robert De Niro that his genius was not in how many different ways he could play a scene, but in cutting through to the heart of the script, knowing that there are really only 2 or 3 ways to eliminate it. A single glance, an extra beat. These are powerful. Recently, I asked my friend Katina Rodas, a sculptor, how she knows when a piece is done. She answered, "You just know." I strongly suspect she's right. We know what enough is. Do you know about Occam's razor? William of Occam, a 14th century logician and theologian, is credited with the idea that the simplest of explanations is most likely to be correct. The simplest is almost certainly correct. The translation from the Latin says, entities should not be multiplied unnecessarily. In other words, Occam's razor shaves away what is unnecessary. Arlington Street's beloved Ksenia will have to tell us if it's true that medical students are told when you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras. Henry David Thoreau wrote, "I have always regretted that I was not as wise as the day I was born." If you find your life getting tangled up, get out Occam's razor and start shaving. In the 1980s, the Reagan administration closed large-scale institutions for people living with disabilities, mental illness, and addiction, with a promise that the inhabitants would be moved to small, intimate, community-based halfway houses. The institutions were indeed closed, but the halfway houses were never funded. People who had never lived on their own, who had very few real-world coping skills, were literally put out on the streets. It was no less than a humanitarian disaster. I was serving as a student chaplain then at Morgan Memorial Goodwill Industries here in Boston. I remember finding an utterly disoriented young man standing alone at the corner of Arlington and Berkeley Streets and bringing him to work with me. Goodwill threw open its doors and fed, clothed, and employed him and a king tide of other refugees. Housing was an additional challenge. We were completely dependent on the open hands of good-hearted people. One such colleague wrote about that time, "Our halfway house was flooded with applicants. We had only so much room. Whom to shelter, whom to clothe, whom to feed, deep questions to be faced very suddenly. An hour before we opened, we agreed to sit together in silence. Prayer, meditation, just plain calming down. Everyone went for their ammo. Then We opened the doors, somehow trusting. We agreed that everything we did, we would do with love. Those people we accepted with love. Those people we turned away or helped find alternatives, love. Everyone seemed to understand the differences among us all, staff and applicants alike, suddenly seemed less solid. The whole idea that it all had to do with disabilities even seemed a little artificial. Nobody was really thinking that much, had time to, or needed to, or something. So much of it was just coming from the heart. So many people with so many problems. But it went smoothly. How? After the first wave, we sat down to discuss what had happened. Your classic evaluation procedure. Can we come to order? Met with some laughter. So, someone said. Then another person stood up and said, these past 3 days were about who we really are. The way we were, that was the truth about us, deep down. Love is the deepest truth about us. There was a moment of silence. Someone else said, right. We waited a little longer, and that was the meeting. We're not used to things becoming clear like that. But after a minute or two, people gradually got up and went back to work. Beloved spiritual companions, let's listen for what we can leave out. Simplify, simplify. May we seek to do everything with love. It is just enough. Amen.
I'm Al Ingram, and I'm honored to be representing the Covenant Renewal team today. The team, in addition to me, includes Liz Texera, who's also our treasurer, Philip Roberts, Mary Galach, and Reverend Beth and Reverend Kim. It's an excellent, creative, high energy, and very committed team. In Liz's lingo, amazing. We meet regularly, monthly, and more to prepare for and host our events. And of course, we're even planning into next year. We moved Covenant Renewal from May into March this year, and we intend to go forward doing the same next year. Last year's Covenant Renewal, we had a total number of pledgers of 141 and a total pledge income of $315,699. And that was to date, as of today. This year on Pledge Sunday and to date, we have already exceeded that to a total of $324,570, and that's only representing 133 pledging units, so we expect that number to go up. We're thrilled at that number, but I do want to say we built the playing field and you all showed up. The generosity of our community is just astounding. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Al. And thank you all for your extraordinary generosity. With this record-breaking covenant renewal, we are poised to emerge from this unprecedented time financially stronger and closer than ever. As we prepare to close out our fiscal year on June 30th, now is a great time to check in on your current pledge. If you have any questions about your remaining balance, Liz, our wonderful treasurer, is always happy to help. And if you haven't made your pledge yet for next year, you can still do that right from the homepage at ascboston.org, or you can reach out to Liz at treasurer@ascboston.org. Thank you for your commitment to our staff, our building, and this beloved spiritual community. Let's take a moment now to fill today's virtual collection plate. There are several ways to make your gift. You can mail a check to the church or use the envelopes in your pews, which can be handed to Reverend Kim or to me or to any of our ushers after the service. You can give online by scanning the QR code in the order of service or by going to ascboston.org. Or you can text your gift to the church by sending a message with the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 617-300-0509. Each Sunday, we share our collection plate with a partner in our mission of love, service, justice, and peace. Today, our gifts will support the Boston Gay Men's Chorus, back after a 2-year hiatus, singing a Disney Pride show later this month. Thank you for your generosity.
And now also some sad news. Our fabulous tenor section leader, Daniel Rosenzweig, will be stepping back from his role at the end of this season after 8 lovely years with us. Music was Daniel's full-time job for about a decade, but the past 4 years it's become a side job. And during that time, Daniel's become a software engineer. I don't know how you just picked that up on the side, but now he works 9 to 5 throughout the week, making a work commitment in the middle of every weekend a bit more difficult to sustain, especially with wanting to spend time with his wife, Janine. Despite all that, Daniel has stayed here making music with us for years as a labor of love. Many of you will remember his music throughout the pandemic when he not only sang, but accompanied himself on piano and even recorded and compiled pieces with layered multi-part vocals. And in addition to all his classical proficiency, he stretched our musical repertoire out into jazz and contemporary musical theater, often suggesting and performing magnificent songs with which I was completely unfamiliar, and you're going to hear another one of those in just a minute. In the choir, Daniel regularly held down the tenor section completely by himself. He has such musicality and is such a good sight reader that I often would barely rehearse the tenor section because he would just nail the part on the first try. He wants everyone to know that he really does love singing at Arlington Street Church and has come to feel like a valued part of the church community, not just a hired hand. He's really leading a completely different life than he was when he arrived here 8 years ago, and he told me that the church has supported him through many rough times along the way. Daniel will be singing a couple of services during the summer and plans to continue to come back and sing here and there whenever we need him, which I assume will be as often as I can convince him to come. Daniel, you are a wonderful musician and a beautiful person. I'm going to miss you, and we are going to miss you. Thank you for everything, and don't be a stranger. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, everyone. This piece, Being Alive, is one that's always meant a lot to me. I think it relates a lot to what Kim was saying today, particularly the part about not wanting to die without ever having lived. This piece, in context of the show by Sondheim, is really a transitional moment where the character goes from fearing somebody who holds him too close and hurts him too deep, just being too vulnerable by knowing someone this deeply, to realizing that he wants and needs someone with him to make him alive. Unfortunately, I realized a little late that this music starts partway through the arc of that piece. So we're going to start on what comes after the page turn in your lyrics. But I want you to sort of hear that this is a transitional moment anyway. And without further ado, Being Alive. Somebody hold me too close. Somebody hurt me too deep. Somebody sit in my chair and ruin my sleep and make me aware of being alive. Being alive. Somebody need me too much. Somebody know me too well. Somebody pull me up short and put me through hell and give me support for being alive. Make me alive. Make me alive. Make me confused. Mock me with praise. Let me be used. Vary my days. But alone is alone. Not alone. force me to care. Somebody make me come through. I'll always be there, as frightened as you, to help us survive. Being alive, being alive, being alive.
Thank you, Daniel. Friends, these are times that call for deep faith and extraordinary leadership. Many of you leapt into action this year to further the mission of our beloved spiritual community with love, service, justice, and peace. On behalf of the staff, Beth and I want to take a moment now to acknowledge all the gifts of time, talent, and treasure that make us thrive. Whether you are in the Zoom room or incarnate, as you are able, I'm going to ask you to wave as I call out your cohort. And if you fit into another category, make like the Queen and just keep waving. Okay.
Will you please wave if you have served this year on the Prudential Committee or as an officer of the corporation? Thank you, friends. A very special thanks to Daryl Waters, completing his term on the PRU, who chaired this past year with steadiness and calm. And to Lois Hartsoff, serving as co-chair and rising chair for the second time.
Will you please wave if you've been a committee chair, team lead, or led a Zoom gathering? Joining Daryl and Al Ingram are Alan Helms, Anthony Canella, Art Nava, Jean Coe-Stewart, John O'Connor, John Anderson Miller, Kevin Terrell, Laura Pattison, Liz Texera, Lois Hartsoff, Philip Roberts, Queen Cheryl, Rachel Corey, Richard Marshall, Sharon Gentges, Spencer Body, Tom Anderson, Tricia Zambruski, and Wayne Johnson.
All right, please wave if you have served as a member of any of these teams or committees. ASC Social, the Capital Campaign, Kitchen Cabinet, Climate Crisis, Covenant Renewal, and Reverse Telethon, COVID Response, Greeters, Finance, HR, Investment Subcommittee, Membership, Nominating, Tech Team, Restoration, Transformation Team for Racial Justice, Ushers, and Worship teams have been especially busy.
If you sung in the choir, played an instrument, invited the Tibetan bell to ring, played our bells, or otherwise made special music at Arlington Street, will you please give a wave? Thank you, friends.
If you are a Zoomer who joined a committee or gave service from afar, please wave. If you served as a spirit buddy or as a mentor for a coming-of-age youth, will you please wave?
Queen Cheryl.
If you have served our neighbors who are hungry or unhoused by serving at the Friday night supper program or rice sticks and tea, will you please wave?
If you've braved the freezing cold or the holiday line at the post office to distribute Christmas Eve candles, Bruce and Tom, helped with PR or used your social media on behalf of Arlington Street or helped with a special event, will you please wave? If you've reached out in the chat or with a call or message to another member of the congregation when they were having a hard time, will you please wave? If you've helped, thank you. If you've helped in some way to beautify the church or garden, help make the sanctuary festive for a holiday, or help to keep it standing, will you please wave?
If you have attended an Arlington Street weekday Zoom gathering or a rally or vigil anywhere, will you please wave? Beautiful. If you have given money or service to the work of the foundation, served on the foundation board, or welcomed guests to our visitor center, will you please wave?
Friends, this is what it takes to make a congregation thrive. And there's one more group without whom none of this would make nearly the impact it does. If you have come to a service recited the affirmation and covenant, sung a hymn, made a gift to this beloved spiritual community. In other words, if you showed up, which is everyone here today, will you please wave? And let's give one another a hand. Thank you, friends.
As the program staff, Mark David, Reverend Kim, and I head off for some summer sabbatical time, we are very grateful to our musicians, affiliated community ministers, and members of the congregation who've come forward to carry our worship services and our weekday Zoom gatherings throughout the summer. Philip Roberts, Connie Scanlon, and Al Ingram are leading Monday Metta. Alan Kemp and Daryl Waters will host Poems to Go On. Trisha Zembruski will continue to lead Arlington Street Rites. Queen Cheryl and Sharon Junchis are hosting Buddha's Belly and the Arlington Street Meditation Center. And Jean Coe-Stewart will continue her Kundalini yoga class. Reverend Kim and I will continue to host our tea party every Wednesday afternoon at 4. Please join us. The conversation prompt for this week's tea is, if you could go back and relive a day of your life, what's one day you would choose? Information and Zoom links for all of these gatherings are at ascboston.org. To attend any of them, you don't have to be a member, you don't have to turn on your video or talk if you don't want to, and they're all free. All are always welcome. Don't miss our first summer service happening here in the sanctuary and in the Arlington Street Zoom room with Reverend Fred Small, our Minister for Climate Justice, happening next Sunday. Following today's service, everyone is welcome to join in a brief virtual coffee hour, followed by our first ever hybrid Arlington Street Corporation meeting. At 12:30-ish, we will gather to officially vote in our new members and our fabulous slate of officers for the coming church year. All are welcome, and members who have officially joined the church are strongly encouraged to attend and to vote. Before the corporation meeting, Reverend Kim and I will be out front. If you're here in person, please come say hello. Thank you to all who joined in today's service and all of you who made it possible. Remember, we are in this together. Have a wonderful summer. I love you.
Our final hymn is Life Calls Us On by the Reverends Jason Shelton and Kendall Gibbons. The words are printed in your order of service. I invite us to rise in body, rise in spirit, and sing together. Life calls us on. Here we go. Here in reverence now we gather for the blessings we have known, with a pledge to one another that we journey not alone. Joy and sorrow make us wise, kin to all that lives and dies. Love calls us on. Love calls us on. Words and deeds of those before us waken here to keep us strong. Blend our voices in the chorus of creation's living song. Courage bids us lift our eyes upward to guides in love and duty. Lead us with a trusted light. Blessed are they whose inward beauty shows the path of truth and right. Honored is their earthly prize. By their work we realize that faith calls us on. Faith calls us on. We have shared a radiant hour when the truth has made us free, and the Spirit's gracious power dreamed of good that yet shall be. Bright the path before us lies. Joyful pilgrims, now we rise. Life calls us on. 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 Life calls us on.
Before our benediction, I invite those of you in the Zoom room to please reach out your hands and touch the sides of your squares. And those of you in the sanctuary to please raise your hands, palms out. Let's send loving kindness to the people to your left and to your right. Send loving kindness to the people on either side of you and to the people on either side of them. Send out love into this beloved spiritual community and feel it coming back to you. Love is the spirit of this congregation. And now for our benediction, I invite you to put your hands over your heart in namaste. I bow to the divine in you. Kalidasa was a classical Sanskrit author who is often considered ancient India's greatest poet and playwright. We heard it this morning. This is from his exhortation to the dawn. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of our existence. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow but a vision. Let us look well, therefore, to this day. Let us keep this faith, beloveds, and pass it on. The service begins when the service ends. Bless your hearts. I love you. Amen.
May the sunshine fall. Until we meet Please visit ascboston.org for more information about this historic Unitarian Universalist congregation. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.